Let's see here. Got some house cleaning. Dick Gregory. Yeah, we got the Crispus Attucks thing here. So, according to Crispus Attucks, the American Revolution happened because a black man had stood up to the Boston Redcoats. And what Dick Gregory says right here, they weren't radicalized enough to end slavery, but they were moved to do something about their own oppression. So Crispus Attucks was a badass. Crispus Attucks actually was a runaway slave, but he was just a big, ginormous black man. What is the Caucasian racist to do? So Crispus Attucks is walking around a free man and walking around Boston when the redcoats were trying to be fucking assholes to everybody, and he stood strong, he stood tall. He had a backbone, he had a spinal cord. Crispus Attucks was a big man, 6 feet 2 inches tall, described by at least one eyewitness as stout. 47 years old, his knees were nearer together than common. Brother Attucks was a runaway slave who had made a successful escape from Framingham in 1750. The Tuesday, October 12th, 1750 edition of the Boston Gazette ran the following advertisement: ran away from his master, William Brown of Framingham, on the 30th of September last. A mulatto fellow about 27 years of age named Crispus. Mulatto, so does that mean he's got some Native American in him? Is he part Guatemalan? Is he part Bolivian? Many of the British soldiers were young and inexperienced, but they held loaded muskets. It's March 5th, 1770. March 5th, 1770. That was a day that's going to live in infamy. George Washington exhorted his troops in battle with the cry, "Remember the Boston Massacre." March 5th, 1770 was the National Day of Mourning, and it stayed that way until July 4th, 1776 had replaced it as a National Day of Celebration. So for every year, remember March 5th, god damn, they killed Crispus Attucks, they killed 4 other fucking people. Those damn redcoats, they're not going to stop, they're going to just keep on oppressing, and they're not going to let us live. They want to take this entire country. They don't want America to be. They don't want us to have civil liberties and right to a jury trial. George Washington exhorted, "Remember the Boston Massacre." To the founding fathers, brother Attucks and his compatriots were martyrs, not rioters, martyrs. And many white folks who had been straddling the fence regarding opposition to the British government became radicalized when they realized that a black man escaped from slavery was willing to shed his blood and give his life to champion the cause of American freedom. Jesus Christ! A black man, an ex-slave, can stand up for fucking freedom, but the goddamn racist Caucasian can't? Why can't Caucasia fucking stand up for righteousness and goodness? What the hell's wrong with Caucasia? Is Caucasia, there's good and bad in all groups of people, so there are some Caucasians they'll be a racist pile of shit till the day they die. It's all they give a fuck about is being a racist pile of shit. It's all they give a fuck about. So it took a slave to translate Sam Adams' words into deeds. A few days after Crispus Attucks was killed, the right-wing press took over. The Boston Transcript denounced Brother Attucks as a firebrand of disorder and sedition, who, if he had not fallen a martyr, would have richly deserved hanging as an incendiary. But the Founding Fathers saw the Boston Massacre in a different light. Such men as Sam Adams and John Hancock continually lifted the bloody relics of the Boston Massacre to public view. They used a liberally embellished version of the gory scene on the Boston Common to fan the flames of revolution. The Boston Massacre. Samuel Adams went immediately to Acton Governor Hutchinson's house, successfully demanded the immediate removal of the soldiers from the town. Samuel Adams was one of the founding fathers who had been writing the rhetoric of the revolution when the British troops first landed in Boston in 1768. Samuel Adams wrote, "Military power is by no means calculated to convince the understandings of men. It may in another part of the world affright women and children, or perhaps some weak men out of their senses, but will never awe a sensible American tamely to surrender his liberty." Concerning the continuing presence of troops in Boston, Samuel Adams went on, "Are we a garrison town or are we not? If we are, let us know by whose authority and by whose influence we are made. So if not, and I take it for granted we are not, let us then assert and maintain the honor, the dignity of free citizens, and place the military where all other men are, and where they ought always and will be placed in every free country at the foot of the common law of the land, to submit to the civil magistrate in the legal exercise of powers forever the part of a good subject, and to answer the watchmen of the town in the night may be the part of a good citizen, as well as to afford them all necessary countenance and support, but to be called in account by a common soldier, by any soldier, is a badge of slavery, which none but a slave will wear. But none but a slave will wear. So they use the rhetoric of we don't want to be slaves, and yet the institution of slavery is still going to be maintained. Why does this shit keep on happening? Time and the Golgi tendon, electromagnetism, itch, dizzy, dream, smell, taste, hearing, grip, strength, texture, vestibular, oxygen intake, hunger, fatigue, thirst, lanceolate, pain. Oh, we don't have 27 senses. How many senses do we have? 3? You think we only got 3? What are they? Well, they're eyesight, pain, coldness, rotation, vibration, Merkel, touch, distance, direction, eyesight, organ stretch, proprioception, air pressure, tickle. Is tickle a sensation all to itself? It kind of is, isn't it? Tickle. You could tickle your enemy into submission. I'll tickle you. I'll tickle you until you tell me where the hell the fucking pot of gold is, you son of a bitch. Itch, dizzy, and dream. Smell, taste, and hearing. Ons, dulce, trace, katos, kin, says, to set, dis wit, dis neffen bin, dis wit, dis neffen bin, dis wit, dis neff, and